Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Fractional Nerd. I am Bryan C.P. Steele. I will be your nerd today and every other day that you watch these crazy shows. Today is our last episode from 2021. Okay. So I wasn't going to film this week, but I was sick last week, and I put up the little "I'm sorry that I've got a cold" um, video, and everybody seemed to be really, "Hey, hope to see you back soon. Hope to see you back soon." So here we go. We'll do a little shorty today, mostly because it's the holidays, and I want to express yeah, Christmas is over. Kwanzaa just began. Hanukkah's over. Um, Yule obviously has already passed. So most of the like winter holidays are done. Kwanzaa is wrapping up very soon. Um, but it's almost New Year's Eve. In fact, actually, when this is coming out, it will be New Year's Eve. So by midnight tonight, we'll be going into a new year. And let's go ahead and let's do a real quick Week in Bryan, and then let's get to the topic, which is really just kind of a fun topic today. So, Week in Bryan, professionally, by the time you're watching this, I will have finished with a gigantic Transformers Adventure Arc book. Hence my Sharkticon fun shirt. Not from Armor Class 10, sadly. Although they do need to totally make Transformers shirts. I know which one they should do. Okay. I'm going to email them in a minute. But professionally, so I finished that up, and I'll be very shortly diving into a very, very important Power Rangers book, source book. Can't get into the specifics of it, but it is going to be out of this world. Very, very cool. Very, very cool stuff. Still plugging away when I have time on the fiction or the background lore and stuff for the Warzone book. I know that Kickstarter is working on being scheduled for early 2022. I really, really hope that I hope you guys enjoyed that game as much as I think you're going to. I know I've been having a blast putting it together. I love working with Alex. He is just a great cat, but also it's fun to work with nostalgia. If anything has been kind of driven home recently, in no pun intended. Spoiler free, but Spider-Man No Way Home is a nostalgia fest, and it is amazing. It is my favorite MCU movie, and in my top 5 comic book movies at this point. The Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus just started, and it is the perfect mix of all of the cool Star Wars stuff that we knew and loved, but sprinkled in with enough new aspects of things that it doesn't just feel like an old rehash. It doesn't just feel like, oh, okay, we're just talking about the same stuff. But there's also the other side of that coin. I recently saw Matrix Resurrections. And if you know me, I'm a very, very big fan of the first Matrix movie. The first Matrix movie is just untouchable gold. It is epic level amazing. And that the second one is okay. They tried some things. And that the third one just falls apart. Well, the fourth one picks up that fallen apart torch and just kind of juggles it in place. I thought it was long, pretentious. Listen, I get it, and I think that it's awesome that Lana Wachowski wanted to make a message about a kind of mental and your being transition and so forth. And that's fantastic. But you can do that and make a good movie too. If you have to tell somebody your mission, if you have to make it part of your press docket, if you have to tell everybody, hey, this is why my movie is good, your movie's not good. And I understand, and I'm probably going to catch a lot of flack for this. I've got several friends that are like, it's art, it's amazing, it's the best thing I've ever seen. But almost all of those people immediately either go into the socio-political weight of what they've been told that movie represents, or they say, I heard about this, or this is what, you're just not seeing this. If that's the case, then it wasn't done well. If you have to be told what the message is, if you have to be explained and handheld as to the importance of your work, it misses the point. The point of using art to convey a message is to convey a message. If you're just using art to entertain, then entertain and make a fantastic movie. And there are parts of Matrix Resurrection that are entertaining. But overall, it was too long. It was more Deus Ex Machina than even the earlier films. And it was fight choreography that was 20 years old being done by actors that can do better. And I hate to be so mean, but because I really wanted to love it. I was really hoping that it was going to turn everything around and be this new foray into the Matrix universe, and I'm sorry, it's terrible. If you enjoy it, and if you like it, and then I am super glad. And I'm not telling you don't enjoy it. I'm not telling you don't try it. I'm not telling you to not watch it. By the way, if you see my dog walking around back here, Johnny decided to join me in the studio today. He's kind of clingy this morning. I don't think he's feeling too good. But like I said, I'm not telling you don't see it. I'm saying see it, make your own mind up about whether or not you dig it. And if you dig it, I am glad. I am glad that you found some enjoyment, that you found some light, and you found some spark in this world. I think that's probably the biggest thing I want to portray about. I'm very hyperbolic. I know that I am. A lot of my Facebook posts, a lot of my tweets, I can sometimes use some of my flowery writer language to really kind of smack it home. And I try not to, because I know I hate it when like movie reviewers and stuff do the same thing. I try to make sure that everybody knows that it's just my opinion. I'm not speaking as fact. I'm not trying to sway their opinion. I'm just basically trying to start a conversation. But I'm trying, going into this new year, to make sure that every time that I make one of these statements, when I mention how I can't stand Ahsoka and I think she's a terribly written character, or I can't stand Deadpool and what they've done with him after 1997, or hell, I recently got into a conversation with one of my best friends on our Facebook chat about how I can't stand that Gorka Morka turned Games Workshop orcs into fungus. Call me weird. I've got my opinions. We all do. And I want to try and go into next year making sure that people know that these are just my opinions and that I am not trying to impose them upon them. I'm not trying to be like, I hate fungus orcs and you should too. It's more along the lines of, I hate fungus orcs, let's talk about that. And I'm the same way about about these other things, if you find enjoyment out of it, if it brings you some life, if it brings you some light in this world, then rock on. I'm glad that you found that spark, that Marie Kondo, that joy in your life. I'm glad you found that. The only time that it bothers me when someone finds that joy in it is when their joy directly takes the joy from others and takes that light and depresses and stamps down on other people. And I think that's a lot of what's going on wrong with. I'm going to get deep here. I think that's kind of wrong with what's going on with American socio-political situation right now. Is we used to be a nation where if someone voted a different way from you, whatever, they got their thing. They lost this time, maybe they'll win next time. And what it has turned to is so strongly, it's you need to see my way, or not only is your opinion wrong, but your opinion is wrong and I hate you for it. And certain people have turned that into a way to hurt others, and that's just straight up wrong. That makes you a villain in my book. Is if it like, unless your view hurts others, it's just your opinion to have. There you go. All right, let's get off of that. Yeah, so work stuff. I've got some painting to do, a little bit of commission painting to do. Game stuff. I've just been playing a lot of video games. I got to run my D&D game down in Indianapolis a couple weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. They fought a whole village full of devoted orcs, a couple of little goblin minions of this guy who had a cannon for an arm, who never got to fire it. They ambushed him and they hit him with everything they had, and it took him out. But they did get to one of the player characters is an illusionist wizard, and not what I would call like a direct combat character. So when he was like, "Hey," I did this like cinematic thing with the bad guy when the cannon arm, when Boom died, he fell down, his cannon flopped to one side, and the little rune encrusted cannonball slowly rolled out. They were all expecting him to like explode or whatever, and it just slowly kind of rolled out onto the ground, like someone dropping a baseball or something like that. And so on the following round, the wizard illusionist used the spell Catapult to grab it and use it. And I was like, that's awesome. It ended up hitting like the boss and his bodyguards, and did a bunch of damage to everybody. It was very cool. So it was neat, and I think that it gave the players basically a peek into what they avoided when they killed Boom and his goblins, because he was going to be able to drop those on them relatively regularly. He was a bad shot, but it had a big enough area of effect that he probably still would have got some people. It would have been cool. It was a fun encounter. But then they got past the village and into basically there's like this like holy place in the middle of a giant tree that has like a gate in it and stuff. And this is really kind of the end of their first chapter. This is like the climax of the first chapter. And so I got to set up the map and everything with all these models, because the one thing that I am doing with this game is I am 3D printing and painting all of the terrain, all of the models, everything for the game. I'm making sure that it is. I'm making sure that it is very physically pretty, it is a spectacle that they can enjoy and be involved in. And I love the wow factor when I go, okay, hang on a second. I reach into my box of goodies, and I pull out something and put it on the table, and they go, what? And so this next room that they just walked into has a bunch of lesser demons in it, and like this orc shaman who's like been trucking with demons. And so their next session, encounter, fight, the kind of the climax of chapter 1 is against a bunch of these lesser demons, and we'll see it. I think it'll be fun. A lot of them have used a great deal of their oomph, but it should be a good fight. I'm not looking to TPK anybody or anything like that, but it should be a pretty solid challenge. We'll leave it at that. Let's see, what else? That's really it. We were supposed to play Strahd last night, Curse of Strahd, but we didn't. Just holidays and stuff get in the way of setting everything up. And in related notes, I'll go into the next section of what I want to talk about, the week in Bryan. So it's the holidays. And it's no secret, for my wife and I, money has been kind of tight up until very, very recently. And so a lot of my Christmas shopping has been, it's got to kind of wait until after Christmas. There's going to be some people that are getting stuff belated. But I have got to say that I have got some of the best fans and some of the best friends that I could ask for. Fans, so I made a comment on here a while back about playing Magic again, and that I really loved, this was actually off of one of my TikToks, that I loved, hang on, I gotta scratch my eyeballs, that I really loved the D&D set, that it really drew me back into Magic. And one of the things that I really, really loved was the special lands that were done up as D&D original modules. And one of my TikTok fans sent me, it's just a common, it's not like a rare, it probably cost him $2, but he threw it in an envelope, and he sent me a Merry Christmas for Evolving Wilds, an adventure for characters levels 1 through 4. It's just a land that you sacrifice, and you get to put in a different land. It's basically just a buffer land that you use to build multicolored decks. It basically is you're putting out a card and sacrificing it to get another card, but it is if you've got 3 colors or more in your deck, sometimes you need that. God, I need one more forest or something like that. That's what this is for. And so it's just nice that they sent me that. While on that same spiel, I had another fan send me a conquest. So I've been playing more conquest, or been painting or assembling and preparing to play more conquest, because I'm really enjoying that game, and the direction that it's going in, as far as like them fixing their rules, them making adjustments to armies, planning new factions for next year, one of which might sucker me into a second faction. But I really do like where they're going, and I made that expressly clear. And one of you fans, I'm not going to name who you are, because you asked to remain anonymous. You sent me the tactical retinue for my Dwagum, so thank you, and Merry Christmas to you. You know who you are. I have always, in our games thus far, we haven't really used the retinue models. We just basically put our character on a stand all by themselves, and then just told our opponents, hey, this is what he has. He's got tactical 2, he's got arcane 3, or whatever. Well, now that we've seen what the retinues are, now that more armies are getting them, I do believe that I'll start using it. It's a good way of having another base in the unit. It doesn't look as weird having one guy by himself, and they're cool models. So there you go. But some other stuff. I received some Dwagon Warriors from one of my closest friends. So thank you. And then I had ordered something from the esteemed Alpha Omega Hobby. So one of our sponsors here on the show is Armor Class 10 Apparel. And Armor Class 10, one of their managers, owners, board members? I don't know. I don't know what Jake's title is a very, very close friend of mine named Jake, and he also owns a game store, an amazing game store out in the Boston area. I'm actually going to put Alpha Omega Hobby's address in the description of this video, because he also does, Jake does a fantastic job of mail orders through. You can go on their online store, order things, and they'll ship them to you. They've got even an online version of like a points program that if you buy a bunch of stuff, you get coupons. It's a great store, and they're great people. And I had ordered something from them earlier, just a little doodad for my Star Wars Legion, and they sent me this wonderful Christmas card, or holiday, as he put, or whatever you're into. Jake goes by Oz. It's one of his nicknames. But it's, from Oz, Ben, and the Alpha Omega Hobby team. He sent me this little Christmas card, and a bunch of like fun little toys and things. Little parts of games that they know I play, parts of games that they know that I want to get back into, including BattleTech Alpha Strike. I was lamenting that I had sold off all of my Ghost Bear stuff, and so Jake replaced some of it with the new plastic Alpha Strike stuff. It was just a really nice endeavor a really nice gesture from my friends at Alpha Omega, and I want to throw a shout back out to them, or shout out back out to them. And if you have anything to order game-wise, go check them out. They've got a great selection. They've got an awesome online store, very easy to get around and use. And then probably, we got family gifts and stuff, but from like my friends and fans, there is one particular gift that stands out as easily the most thoughtful. Which it is not to say the other gifts are not thoughtful or anything of the sort, but this is definitely something that took some time and some effort and some planning. So, the Curse of Strahd game that I play in every other Wednesday night, I am playing a bronze dragonborn who worships the tides of chaos through his a paladin with that took the kaleidoscopic oath, so he worships kind of chaos and craziness and all of that. Very random, kind of like the wild mages of paladins. And in the mail, I got, I'm going to cover up his last name because I don't know if he wants everyone to know, a 2021 campaign, Curse of Strahd, with our Dungeon Master's name on it. And then on the back is a pattern, specifically the kind of the red and bronze chaos of my person, and my character's name is Sir Racklin Davidian, with a little dragon symbol on it, all like hand planned out, used an embroidery machine to make, and then inside were it was a Chessex set of dice that match kind of the match the bag, match the character. And this was from one of my best friends in the world, Bryan, He spells it differently though. Who plays the game with us, and it had a little note inside thanking me for getting him in that gaming group. That because it's an online game, and he lives in South Carolina. It was extremely thoughtful, and then he sent me when I thanked him, he sent me a picture of the rest of the bags that he made. He made one for every character in the group, everybody involved in our gaming group, including the dungeon master. It really is. Bryan goes above and beyond with his generosity and his thoughtfulness every time I turn around. When I was on really hard times, because Bryan and I play Xbox on the off Wednesdays where we don't play Strahd. We have our Xbox Boys Night, and it's a way for us to stay in touch despite having several states between us. And because it's an online game, I miss role playing with him. You know, we try to do sessions and stuff when we go to the same conventions, when we meet up at Gen Con, and it's always fun. But there is just something to be said for having a long-standing campaign with your friends. And when Nick, the Dungeon Master, mentioned on the bag, said he was opening up this Curse of Strahd game, I asked if I could invite someone that they knew tangentially. You know, they met a couple of times, but they obviously weren't very close. They didn't have 20 some odd years worth of friend background with this guy. And Nick was happy to let him in, and obviously Bryan's having a great time. He made us all character specific dice bags and got dice, and it's just very cool. It was a very, very thoughtful gift, and it warms my heart to know that in this somewhat dark and selfish time that we live in, because of pandemics and COVID and political issues and all that stuff, that there are still good friends, good family, and good people out there that are willing to help pass on that joy and make your life a little better. So thank you to everybody who's ever done that before, to me or anyone else. Thank you in advance to anybody who goes to my Amazon wish list or uses my P.O.Box to send something to the show. It's just awesome. It's thank you to everybody. And now we've gotten all that out of the way, it kind of segues perfectly into what I wanted to talk about today, and that was basically to say goodbye to 2021. 2021, we thought collectively was going to be the most amazing, like the best of the best. After such a dismal 2020 with COVID ravaging the world and just getting away from presidential problems, and inviting somewhat presidential apathy. But overall, it was just an interesting year. That when we moved into 2021, in the height of the pandemic, everybody was shut down. We were really hoping that that this year was going to be the good one. It was going to be the shining light, and I do firmly believe that is a step in the right direction, that it feels better. But we ain't there yet. We're not quite there yet. And I'm hoping that 2022 continues in that upward trend. Maybe not as I'm not as hopeful of a drastic turnaround as I was between 20 and 2021, but steps in the right direction. And I think that I've got a couple of good reasons for that. 2021, despite all of the darkness, we were able to start getting back together again, being careful, masking up when we have to, getting vaccinated and things has helped dramatically. convention scene has opened back up again in part, and I had a lot of fun through several of those. And I'm hoping more people will get vaccinated, be okay with wearing masks in public and things like that, if that's where it goes, if that's what we need. And I'm hoping 2022 just sees more of that. I know there are definitely more shows that I plan to go to. I am going to be here in just a couple of weeks. I'm going to be a special guest at Frankfurt Con down in Kentucky. It's a small little convention, little like comic book pop culture convention, but I'm going to be running a Power Rangers game there, and being part of a panel about creating games, about writing and creating our passions. So that's going to be a lot of fun. If you're in the Kentucky area, maybe give it a shot. I'll put the link to that convention in the description. I picked up a couple of sponsors. Picked up Turbo Dork painting supplies as a sponsor. I picked up Sovereignty as a sponsor of the tabletop board game engine, which is super fun. It's funny. My stepkid got one of the games that I learned how to play on Sovereignty. They got the physical version for Christmas from their dad, their biological dad. So it's just cool. Again, it's I think that's a neat aspect, and getting 60 days free is not bad for those of you who watch the show. Use the code. Let's see what else. I think the biggest thing, both not personally but definitely professionally, has been my blooming and cemented relationship with Renegade Games. I mentioned this in my What I'm Thankful For, was my boss, Elisa Teague, and the Renegade kind of ongoing contracts. But this is more of a direct thank you to the company, to the relationship that they're letting me build. It is going to be, I know that our next year is going to be very busy. Knowing a lot of the stuff that is in my queue to be working on. I know that I'm going to be very busy, and I know that as a company, you're going to see a lot of really cool stuff coming out of that company, and hopefully coming out of the team that I'm part of. And so I very much look forward to getting to tell you guys more about that stuff as it comes. Here very, very shortly, the Power Rangers core rulebook should be available for people. I know you can still pre-order it, I think, until the end of next week. I think you can still pre-order it. But it is, when we came up with this Essence 20 system, I really think we've got a very, very cool game engine. I think that it fits these settings really, really well. I think it's kind of funny that Nworld.com just put out their, hey, vote for the most anticipated role-playing games of 2022, and I thought it was funny that there's a handful of them for Renegade Games, which is cool, but Transformers is on there. The Transformers Essence 20 game is on there, but G.I. Joe and Power Rangers aren't, and Transformers is the one that's coming out last. It's just, I just thought that was weird. I know that it was based on fan submissions, and there are several people that I know in the Power Rangers community that are mad that did not get advertised enough, because they're like, we would have absolutely, there was a live play on Twitch that lasted like 3 months for this game, and it didn't even make it into the voting circle. And I think that I think that may have rubbed a few of the fans wrong. And again, it comes from the fact that N-World is not making these suggestions. N-World takes submissions, and they only do a window of submissions because you have to. You can't just take constant, otherwise it would never end. And I think the submission window maybe wasn't advertised well enough, because there's a lot of people I know who are like, why didn't we know about this? And that is because I don't think that it got spread around enough during submission. And that maybe that was by design. Maybe they didn't want any cults of personality taking over. Who knows? But either way, I'm extremely excited about all that stuff to come out. I want to be able to start seeing, on TikTok and on Twitch, I want to start seeing people running their own games. I want to start seeing people as excited about our upcoming products as I am to make them. As I want them to be as excited to get them. Like that's where I'm at. But I wouldn't be in the position that I am, like, I'm gonna say it, both financially and emotionally and mentally, if it wasn't for the fact that Renegade has been taking such good care of me, and yeah, keeping me busy, but in a great way. So 2021, saying goodbye to how the kind of the rough starts of a few things and the awkward conversations with people that I barely knew, to now having new friends that I look forward to seeing to and look forward to talking to when I can, new colleagues that I have known about or been tangentially connected to for years that now I actually can count amongst my friends. Looking at finally taking the honeymoon, 5 years into my marriage with Natalie, we're finally going to have the time and finances to take the honeymoon that we've been talking about forever. And it's been altered a little bit. Originally we were going to do Iceland, but it got changed into now we're going to go do a D&D cruise with our friends Satine and Jameson, and Elise is going to be on there, and it's like I said, this year has been very transformative. It's been very good, but I do have to say goodbye. There's been a lot of I want to say goodbye to sadly, there are still some estranged former friends in my life that I was kind of hoping that maybe something would turn around, that maybe there'd be some kind of connection in all of this, kind of depressing darkness, to go, let's mend some bridges, and sadly, a few of those that I was hoping would happen just never happened. There are a few people that haven't been in my life for a long time, that I am sad to see interacting with people that I care about, but I can't stop people from making mistakes. I can't stop people from being involved with toxic relationships. I can just give my opinion if they ask, or advice if they ask, and if they don't ask, I just have to be there for if and when they get hurt. Professionally, I made a few friends, a few colleagues. In fact, now that it just brings about it, I'm still, my guy is still inking up the contract. There is a very, very cool company that I met, one of their guys, one of their partners at GameholeCon, called Limitless Adventures, that they do the Limitless Adventures books, but they also do Limitless Spells and Limitless Monsters and Limitless. They do like this Limitless series. That's basically a nice way to just expand your D&D game in various directions. And they are having me do a fistful, maybe 12 or 13 monsters for their new Kickstarter that's just about ready to go live. But I have a reminder link that I will put in the description. Go follow that link, get a reminder when it goes live. It's going to be a fun book. There's going to be a lot of neat creatures in there. The Limitless guys do a very good job of sticking to the old school feel without making it feel like, oh, here's a bunch of 80-year-old dudes that are not wanting to get rid of their first edition D&D. No, that's not it. These are just, it's deeper monster entries, deeper plot lines, deeper things like that, that don't take away from your immersion and enjoyment of the universe. And I'm getting to help out with one of those projects. I'm giving them a handful of my monsters to put in their book as part of their Kickstarter. So please, especially if you just want to help out a good project and help out me, is go to the link that I've got in the description and get a reminder set up, because when it goes live, I think it's going to go live next week, I think he said. But I'm not 100% sure, which means you need that reminder just as much as I do to then go and back this project and make a very cool book. Please and thank you. But yeah, that was just one of the many people that I got to meet, and 2021 was a great deal of this was us working the kinks out of the Warzone process, hammering through all the playtests and getting through, how big of the book do we want? Do we want a physical book? Do we, there was just a lot, getting a hold of a miniatures art director, stuff that, thankfully is not, it's higher than my pay grade, but still very, very cool and very, very needed. I just, knowing that 2022 is where a lot of this stuff is going to come out and come to fruition and I think 2022, and I'm going to knock on wood, that it is all the seeds that we're planting this year are going to actually bloom next year. And I'm really eager to see what that garden looks like, to stick with the metaphor. Family-wise, there's some stuff I would love to say goodbye to. I'm not going to air my dirty laundry, obviously, but there's stress. There's always stress. Being a parent to teenagers means you had to deal with teenager stuff. You got to deal with angst, and you got to deal with, their minds changing hormonally, and I'll leave it at that. I'm hoping next year will be a little easier. I'm hoping next year maybe will curb some of the just craziness that's coming up out of my kids, and maybe a step in the direction of more stability in their lives. It's just kind of where I'm at. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just really wanted to say that 2021 was a great year, not just for me personally and professionally, but also as a YouTuber with not that many subscribers. Please share this, get more subscribers. I want more people to hear me talk. The amount of generosity I've seen from some of you fans through the P.O.Box or through the Amazon wish list is staggering. The donations to Natalie's GoFundMe for her medical bills was eye-opening about how many people out there still just they're still caring. They're compassion has not dried up and withered in the pandemic. And the advent of the comment raffle starting in October, I'm still going to do it. I think it's a fun way for me to get people to leave cool comments, to start conversations, and it's a cool way for me to reward you guys for watching and for sharing and for getting other people to join in. So as this video is going to be the last one in December, next week you'll find out who the final 2021 comment raffle winner will be. So make sure you leave those comments, get those conversations, get people talking, get more entries by chatting up more. That's it, guys. You know how I always say at the end of these videos, play some games. I'm not gonna do it this time because you know that I'm not changing it up. Still gonna do that's gonna still be my sign off, but just not today. Today it's gonna be stay safe. Please get vaccinated. Wear your mask. Be the person that wants to help the people around you and help everybody get through this, because we want our convention season to be as easy as possible next year. But also think about your year, how your year has been. Say goodbye to the stuff that you want to be left in the past, and hold on to and say, welcome aboard to all those parts of 2021 that are the things that make you smile, the stuff that brought you that joy that I was talking about at the beginning of this video. But no matter what, I want you to have a happy new year. Welcome 2022 in whatever way you can. And what I want you to do, play some games, but what I want you to do is, if you are a gamer of any kind, you have to have a die nearby. I would like you to find a D20 if you have one. If you don't have one handy, any die that you want. And what I want out of this video is just after it strikes 2022, just after it says Happy New Year and the ball falls and all that, I want you to grab that die as a good gamer and give it a roll, and then come to this video and type in what you rolled. I would like people to stay out of the D20s, because that way we can have some correlation of all these numbers, and I think that it'll be funny to see who crits, who fails, so forth and so on. You're making a Happy New Year's check, so to speak. If you don't have a D20, if you're not that kind of gamer, roll whatever die you have, or flip a coin, something random, and just like kissing your sweetie at the beginning of the new year to make sure there's love throughout the year, I want you guys to roll a die, flip a coin, whatever it takes, game industry wise, just after the stroke of midnight, maybe after you kiss your sweetie, because you don't want them to be upset with you. But I want you to ring in the new year with the idea that we all have a chance to do better. And we all should try and make that skill check, roll that hard 6+ or whatever you got to do. It's really just an exercise, and it's a metaphor for us going into 2022 and really, really making it the best we can. Happy New Year, everybody.